Okay, this next title is very dramatic. Wellspring of Tears in Walker, Michigan.
Oh, do you know where? Do you have family? Do you have family? Do you have family in Walker too?
I don't have family in Walker. I actually don't know where that is.
Walker is. I just will tell you, Walker is by, I believe, Grand Rapids.
Okay, all
So
right.
we handle the whole state of Michigan and Ohio.
Yes,
And,
you are all over the place.
Every town and city, almost.
All right, so Wellspring of Tears in Walker, Michigan, and they have to say that back in 2015, my wife and I purchased a home on land contract. We gave the seller over $20,000 as a down payment. The land contract sales price was $190,000. Last month, the home burned down, and we did not have insurance. Unfortunately, we have come to learn that neither did the seller.
Oh.
The seller called earlier this week, extremely upset, to tell us they are suing us for the balance of the contract. We are so besides ourselves. What can we do? Wellspring of Tears in Walker, Michigan.
And understandably so. That must be very painful for both. Oh, I'm really not laughing at their circumstance.
No, I'm not laughing either.
People who don't know, it's if you're watching, we do these very late in the day. And so maybe a little loopy, but I could completely get why they're besides themselves. And I can also get why the seller is extremely angry.
Yes.
Here's where the problem is.
Oh no. Okay.
Wow. All right. So where to start? The first thing is, so it was a land contract for a private mortgage.
Yep.
And when you're the seller, and whoever, if you're watching this, you're a landlord, you own a piece of property, you're the seller of a property on land contract, you gave a mortgage to somebody on a property for them to purchase. Whenever you have the money at risk, you always must control the insurance, okay?
Okay.
You never rely. I used to service millions and close to $1 billion at one bank in just loans, okay? And the number one rule when somebody would call me related to an issue, first thing I say is get yourself insurance. Anybody who's watching who knows me and who's called me on an issue, the first thing you'll hear me say is, do you have insurance? Did you get insurance? And I'm going to be completely transparent. Right now, Blair, I think I own mortgages as well and land contracts.
Yep.
Today, in the mail, today, I received a cancellation of insurance for one of my mortgagors.
Okay.
Now, I'm in the middle of doing something else and blah, 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 but the weekend's coming up. We'll put insurance on it. I'll put it on. But lately, because of the COVID pandemic, there are certain things that are harder to get real quickly. Like I wanted to make sure I had an agent. So once I opened that letter that said cancellation of insurance, I picked up the phone, called the agent. I stopped what I was doing and told the agent right there and then, make sure I wanted 6-month policy on that and charge it to my account now. Why?
Yes.
Because anything can happen.
Yes.
I have been in this business in mortgage lending, finance, and real estate for so many years. I've seen houses burned down, houses flooded, so many things. It's just life. That's how insurance companies make money, by the way, is because there's all these disasters and you're again offsetting your risk by going to get insurance.
Right.
The day the insurance cancels is the day that the tree falls on the house. The fire happens, the water seeps in, all that stuff. That's the day. So I know I sound really passionate about this, but do yourself a favor. Who's ever watching this, if you have a legal interest in a piece of property, always control the insurance. Here's where the seller went wrong. It's the seller's fault. It's not the buyer's fault. Now the buyer is going to owe under. I haven't seen the contract. Again, here we go. Got to see the contract.
Right.
The contract probably does say, although I'm speculating, hey, if you're buying this property on a land contract or a mortgage, you go get yourself insurance. And I want you to prove you have insurance. The key is to make sure you're named as the seller's name or the owner's name is the loss payee.
Yes.
And you have to get notice of a cancellation or an expiration or that policy is no good. And don't just take a binder. You have to get a paid receipt saying that the insurance is good. Even though again, getting back to today, what happened, even though I did send over, the guy put it on the card and I also get the name of the agent. I want to know who's covering me so that God forbid something gets messed up. I have a record at 2:30 in the afternoon on June, 3rd, I spoke with Roy on this property and he said he's covering me. And if I don't see a receipt in an email before I leave at the end of the day, I pick up the phone and go, Roy, where are you?
Yep.
I never go home without insurance.
Mm-hmm.
This seller is responsible. He should kick themselves for not having the insurance. Never rely on the buyer. You can let the buyer take care of paying it, but you need to be on there and notified at all times what's going on. That's it. So besides yourself or whatever they call themselves in what city? What was that?
A wellspring of tears in Walker.
Wellspring. You're going to be sued if you didn't have the insurance, and it's not based on anything more than you lost this person's house. You didn't insure it because I have a feeling it's in the contract that you're supposed to get the insurance.
Probably.
Now they'll probably file bankruptcy or something. They're not going to pay on something that has no value anymore, right?
Right.
But the seller is to blame because they should have known in the beginning that there was a policy that was canceled or that was never maintained. You don't. The other thing is that when you have a tenant that moves in, another thing, you never let a tenant move in without them having renter's insurance. Now, I know, Blair, you're a landlord.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you require people to get renter's insurance. It's their stuff. What do you care, right? If something happens internally to your tenant's property. Well, if there's a fire, God forbid, or something, you may have that inquiry from that tenant or that tenant's attorney at a later date. It just becomes a hassle. So renter's insurance isn't terribly expensive. It doesn't protect them for the building. We understand that, but you should make sure they have renter's insurance so that they don't come to you. If God forbid there's some type of unfortunate disaster, and they go, well, we want you to take care of us. The other way you can do that one, I know we go down the slippery slope. You can put in the lease, hey, I recommend that you get renter's insurance. If you don't, we're not liable for anything anyways. You see?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And when in doubt, insure.
Yes. Completely my own just feelings about it, but I don't understand why people don't insure things that should be insured.
Right.
I don't understand.
Right.
Anyway.
We just went through this whole thing, and I know I get really impassioned by it, but there are so many times that we'll be doing something, with the client on a transaction, and they don't have the coverage. And I lecture them the way I just lectured now, and I'm sorry for that. But
no, I know there are some things I could see sliding, but not your house.
Right. So if I represented the tenant, on the seller on this, I'd sue the hell out of the people under the contract. But the likelihood, I probably would get a judgment, no issue. The problem is the collectability of these people is very remote.
Sure. Sure. Okay.
Sorry to hear
All right.
Well.
Yikes. That makes me all solemn and makes my heart hurt.
When we hang up tonight, you're going to be like, okay, is that policy in place?